A resolution has been introduced in the House calling for the body to remove Representative Jerry Nadler from chairmanship of the House Judiciary Committee.
Introduced by Republican Congressman Lance Gooden of Texas, the resolution calls the impeachment inquiry an attempted coup against a, quote, duly elected sitting president, which is unprecedented and must be stopped. Joining us to discuss the resolution and his thoughts on Speaker Pelosi's decision to move forward with impeachment proceedings is Republican Congressman Darin LaHood of Illinois. Welcome, sir.
Hey, great to be with you today.
Now, putting impeachment aside, which I know you do not support, did you think that the conduct that was reflected in the transcript of that call was becoming of a president? Was it appropriate? Was it acceptable to you?
Well, first of all, when Nancy Pelosi came out on Monday, or I guess on Tuesday, and said, you know, she was starting the impeachment inquiry, I reserved judgment. I wanted to see what was in the transcript. I wanted to see the facts and evidence. I'm a former federal prosecutor. I worked at the Department of Justice. I think facts and evidence are important. There was this narrative built that there was going to be something in that transcript. When I read the full transcript yesterday, I saw nothing in there that, to me, rose to the level of impeachable offenses. When you look at the standard that's been set.
Putting the impeachment standard aside, which no surprise you don't support, I actually don't either for this particular incident. But do you think that this is conduct that a president should be engaged in pressuring a foreign ally to investigate a political opponent? Is that appropriate?
Well, when I read the transcript, I wouldn't describe it as what you just said, pressuring an ally. Mm-hmm. I think, first of all, these type of conversations that go on between world leaders, whether it's our president or other presidents, this is an inside look at what happens, the kind of dialogue and discussion that goes on in private, a private conversation. And so I don't think this is a reflection of pressure. I think it's the kind of talk that goes on between leaders. Mm-hmm. And when I read the transcript, I did not see, again, anything that was inappropriate.
Congressman, we also have been learning a little bit of details about this whistleblower complaint, which has been briefed to some members of Congress. Now, it allegedly only includes details about this phone call and some public reporting about Rudy Giuliani's role in the Ukraine matter. As a former federal prosecutor, a member of Congress, what do you make of that whistleblower complaint? Will it move any Republican over to the other side?
Well, listen, I think I have not looked at it yet, but again, I'll take a look at it. But I have not seen anything thus far, read anything thus far that would cause me to believe that we should be taking this to the next level. Again, I look back at the Mueller report. You know, there was a narrative built for a year and a half that let's wait for the Mueller report. And I was somebody that supported Bob Mueller doing his work, to do his investigation through the independent counsel statute. And he did, but the narrative that was laid out that somehow the president's going to be impeached, that there's going to be a collusion or wait to see what happened, that was a big dud. And so was this, in my view. So, again, it's unfortunate. When you think about articles of impeachment, you're really nullifying an election, the will of the people. And that should be reserved only for high crimes and misdemeanors. And I have not seen it thus far, whether it's in the transcript, whether it's in the report that will be coming out.
I also wanted to ask you, sir, about this and ongoing calls in Congress about investigation into Hunter Biden's role on the board of the Ukrainian energy company. Is that something that you would support, and do you think that it rises to the level of appearing to be corruption?
Yeah, as I've watched the news unfold over the last day and a half, I think all of this hurts Joe Biden and Hunter Biden more than it hurts the president. And I think there are questions about why he was getting the type of money he was from from serving on the board in Ukraine. I think it raised a lot of questions, not from Republicans. A lot of Democrats are raising those questions. A lot of the Democrat presidential candidates that are running have raised these questions. But I think it's a head scratcher for constituents in my district that, you know, I represent Peoria, Illinois, middle America, and want to know why he's getting $50,000 a month and what kind of work he's doing for that. I think that causes a lot of questions that people want answered to.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of cashing in that's been alleged here with Hunter Biden, do you think that should be illegal? Would you support legislation that would end that kind of trading on a family name, or for politicians to cash in on their own public service after they've served their term?
Well, I think when you're a sitting vice president or a sitting member of Congress and one of your family members is sitting on a board and there's a direct nexus between funding by the U.S. government or a connection, absolutely we ought to have ethics laws in place. And again, I look at that not as a Republican or Democrat issue. That's an American issue. That's an ethical issue. And we ought to have stronger laws and enforcement on that type of behavior. We shouldn't be able to benefit from public officials being in office just because you're a family member.
Mm-hmm. What do you make of Rudy Giuliani's role in all of this with Ukraine?
Well, listen, I don't know the full extent of what that is yet, and maybe we'll find that out more when we get the whistleblower report on that. But listen, he's a private attorney. He obviously works for the president. And I think, I have not seen anything yet that causes me concern there. But, we'll have to wait and see on that.
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it, sir.
Thanks.
Yep.
Coming up, Congressman LaHood's colleague from the Prairie State, Illinois Congressman Brad Schneider, joins us.
He shares his thoughts on impeachment news, but also the state of the 2020 race and more when Rising continues.